Tell me something I don't know.
Hi, so I'm Mr. Cox. I'm your geometry teacher this year and want to welcome you to geometry and let you in on some of the things that are going on in this course. Now, unlike algebra, this course is way more intense. Algebra teaches you how to use certain tools as you go along. Geometry is more about using those tools to solve problems. So it's a little bit different than what you're used to seeing. It's a lot more critical thinking than rather just here's a problem, follow these steps. Geometry is more about here's a problem. How are we solving it? Why are we using these steps? There's a lot more writing and theory in geometry. So some of you are going to struggle a little more in this than you may have in algebra. But to help you succeed, there are 6 basic steps to go through. So I'm going to quickly go through those 6 basic steps. Step 1, be punctual, okay? Punctuality is very key to what we do in any course you're taking, whether it's geometry or English or social studies, doesn't matter. Be on time. Basically, here's my rule for tardiness. If you tardy once, then I can sort of give you a warning. I have a tardy sheet that you'll sign up in the back of the room. If you tardy once, that's a warning. Tardy the second time, well, now I have to make a phone call home and say, hey, it's now been twice. We got a problem that's coming in along here. Third time, I'm going to give you detention with me or after school detention or something, some kind of punishment in this case, because now you've been tardy 3 times. When I was in school, 3 tardies counted as 1 absence. So be glad you're not doing that. 4th time tardy, well, now I'm sending you downstairs, okay? Now it's become a major issue and something that needs to be handled with someone else, okay? So that's a quick tardy policy. Let's take a look at our next policy. So our second rule is be prepared. Have your tools with you. Now, a lot of times we're going to be using Google Chromebooks. So a lot of the stuff you're going to be at home is going to be computer. In school, we'll have our Chromebooks. 9th graders, you're going to be getting Chromebooks, so you're going to want to have those in class as well. We're not going to use them every day, but we're going to use them many days. Either it's for the do now or exit ticket, or you may have a lesson that involves using your Chromebook. Or some days we may not use it at all, okay? But be prepared to use them. Have something to write with, pen, pencil, something like that. Have something to take notes in. Either a notebook that you're using, good old spiral notebook works, 3-ring binder with some paper in it. I do give handouts. One thing about mathematics, you're always getting worksheets and things like that in mathematics. So you might want a 3-ring binder to put that kind of stuff in and have it organized so that you can get to it. Okay, it's part of being prepared. Not just prepared for class, but prepared to study later on, prepared to review your notes, prepared to look at things later on when you're trying to go over homework problems or go over problems for a test, okay? All of that is being prepared. Being prepared is understanding that, hey, I don't get this lesson today. Let me stay after school now to get some help as opposed to right before the test. Because if you stay after right before the test, now it's the last chance, okay? So if you don't get it again, now you're done. There's no extra help. You weren't prepared. So if you don't understand something, stay after it. It's part of being prepared. Always try to stay ahead of yourself and be prepared for the next step, okay? Some things you might also want to have, some graph paper. I have graph paper in the classroom. I also try to keep some pens and pencils in the classroom too for you to use, but don't rely on me. Be prepared to have your own, okay? So that's number 2, be prepared. Let's look at the next lesson. So our third thing, which goes along with being prepared, is do your homework. Okay. Now, a lot of times in this class, your homework is actually watching a video that will prepare you to be able to do what we're going to do in class. We're trying to do a lot of that. You're going to watch some videos on your phone at home or on a bus drive to the next game or at home on your computer, watching a video, taking notes on the video, doing some problems, and then coming into class and using what you learned. If you don't do your homework or don't watch the video, you can't participate in the class. Okay, so you have to do homework every single night. That's how you learn math. Trust me, I've gone through looking for every shortcut to do mathematics. I am lazy. I want to do things the easiest way possible. But with math, you have to do your homework. You got to practice. Now, we're going to try to do a lot of practice in class. So to be prepared for that in-class practice, you got to know the lessons. you got to know your vocabulary. You got to understand things. So you're going to have to prepare yourself for class. Sometimes, especially in the honors classes, that may mean doing some extra learning, okay? Learning a few things on your own so that we can move at the quick pace that the honors moves through, okay? So be ready for that. Homework, pretty much is going to be checked every day, either if it's on a computer or some paper homework. I check that kind of stuff. I check to see that you've done it, you've attempted it well, okay? I'm not checking to see how accurate you are, but basically you get 2 points for each homework. 2 points for completely done, 1 point for, you kind of did it. If you didn't really give it any effort, that's not going to get you any points, okay? If you're late, if you're 1 day late and it's fully complete, I can give you full credit, okay? 2 days late, well, now you're 2 full days behind. First of all, it's not very prepared. Second of all, you're not getting anything out of the homework at this point, okay? That's if you're not absent, okay? If you were absent, then yeah, get it to me ASAP. I'd try to say within the next 4 or 5 days. The sooner the better. You don't want to fall behind. This class moves fast, so you've got to stay on top of doing your homework, okay? Homework and classwork on your grades will fall under the same category as skills because it's all the same skills. Whether you're learning it in class and practicing or learning it at home and practicing, you're learning the skills necessary to solve problems in geometry class. So look out for that. You're probably going to have homework every night, so be prepared to do it, whether it's a written homework or watching one of these types of videos. Most of the video lessons I'm going to keep way shorter than this video you're seeing. This should be one of the longest videos you watch all year. That's the plan. Now, your homework might be watch a video, do a few questions, watch a video, do a few questions, watch a video, do a few questions. But still, the video is going to be short, like 8 minutes. So it's not a killer thing. And yes, you will have some homework that is finish a worksheet, do some practice problems, some traditional homework that you're used to in classes. Same with classwork. Some days classwork will be watching a video and taking notes. Some days classwork will be doing a worksheet. Some days the classwork might be the do now and the exit ticket. But you've got to make sure you do that. All of this homework and classwork is to build your mathematical skills. Without that practice, you can't do it, okay? You look at your sports stars, they're still running laps. Running laps isn't going to make them any better at catching a football, but it's those basic practice skills that you need to keep going with, okay? So make sure you get your homework done every single night. Major, major way to pass this course. The fourth piece that's really necessary to really do well in this course is you have to pay attention and participate. Now, paying attention, be awake in class. Don't have your head down, okay? Be paying attention to what I'm saying. If I'm doing work on the board, try to be a step ahead of me. Try to think, oh, I think this is what he's going to do next. Because then you get that mind thinking ahead of time, okay? That's what I usually do. I took a conference this past summer, and I spent all the classes I was looking at going, I think he's going to do this next. It wasn't right all the time. Sometimes that's not where the professor went. But hey, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to keep ahead of the game. If I hear something that someone says in class that, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. Let me write that note down, okay? So it's not just paying attention to me, but paying attention to all your other classmates because the questions they ask may spark a question in your head as well, okay? So just because someone's asking a question about a problem that you understand doesn't mean it's irrelevant to you. They may show something that comes up a little later, or I may say something in the explanation that you didn't think of before and may help you out with another type of problem later on. So always pay attention, participate, be engaged, be trying to beat me at the problems, work on your own stuff, participate in class, ask questions, okay? To do all of this stuff, there's one thing that you gotta leave behind. You can't participate and pay attention if you've got one of these in your hand, okay? These do not show up in my classroom. Please don't use cell phones in my classroom. I don't even want to see them. I got clocks on the walls. I'll tell you when time is up. You don't need it for that. You certainly don't need to be texting people because then you're not paying attention to me and your classmates. You don't need to be answering phone calls. This does not show up in my classroom. No, you're not charging it in class. Put it in your bag, turn it off, make it go away. Pretend it's 1976 and you don't even know what a cell phone is, okay? That's going to make it easier for you to pay attention if you're not constantly down here doing this. And oh, by the way, if I see you like this, I can probably tell that you're looking at your cell phone and not paying attention. So please do that. It's going to help out. I know it's tough. I know how attached you are to your cell phone, but trust me, it's going to help you out if you can get through it. And hey, you may find out cell phone's not that important after all. I know you're like, you're crazy, Mr. Cox. My cell phone's my life. I can't live without it. For 45 minutes in class, live without it, okay? I guarantee in the long run, it's going to help you out. So pay attention, participate. We're moving in, looking at step number 5, the 5th thing that you can do to pretend to do well in this course. The 5th thing to help you get a good grade in this course, make up missed work, okay? Now, I will say, my geometry students last year were great at this. They would make up a test or quiz pretty much within the next day they came back. Amazing. I even had students that knew they were going to be absent and would take a test early so they didn't have to make it up. That is taking charge of your education. That is big time there. But you can't always do that. I understand that you might be sick on a test, not like you knew you were going to get sick, but you might be sick. As soon as you can, make that test up, okay? The longer you wait to make it up, the harder it is to make it up because you start forgetting things. You know this. You've done this all the time, and then you show up for the test and go, I don't remember any of this. Or you go, can I come after school so you can reteach it all to me? I can't reteach it all, okay? You're going to have to make that up. That is you taking charge of your learning, okay? So make things up. Remember, you can make them up if you're legally absent. Don't let me catch you in the cafeteria because that's an illegal absence. At that, I can say, no, you can't make it up. You get a 0 because you skipped my class, okay? Speaking of testing quizzes, I do have a little thing that if you don't do well on a test or quiz, test mainly. Quizzes you kind of stuck with. Quizzes only count 20% of your grade, so they're not a major piece. But tests are 70%. So I have a way to help you out with tests. If you fail a test below 65, then what you can do is you can come after school with me and make corrections, okay? You will get half credit back for every correction you make. There is a catch. You have to correct everything that was wrong, which means if you got a 64 and you only need 1 point, you still have to correct everything you did wrong to get that 1 point. You can only get up to a 65, okay? So you can't get a 64 and raise that grade to an 80. That's not gonna happen. The highest grade you can get is a 65. Now you correct all the mistakes you made. You have to correct everything, but you only get credit for the corrected mistakes, which means if you leave a problem blank, that's not a mistake, that's just not doing it. So you have to correct it, but you don't get credit for correcting that, okay? So the main key is you have to attempt every problem on a test, okay? That's important. I want you to attempt everything. That, even homework, never leave anything blank. You should never leave a problem blank. There's always partial credit, or there's something that you may have done correct. And I can't help you make corrections on blank, but I can help you make corrections on incorrect stuff, okay? So always attempt problems. On a test, if you're failing the test, you can correct mistakes and get up to a 65. It's only to get you to passing. Remember, I'm not trying to boost your grade. That's not the point here. The point is to tell you what you did incorrectly so you don't make that mistake again. We make corrections to be better learners, not to get good grades, okay? The grades are a reflection of what you learned at the time of the test. So key, learn it before the test and you get the good grade, you don't have to worry about corrections. But I do want to give you a safety net, okay, for passing. That's my correction policy. Now, if you abuse this, I do have the right to remove that policy from each individual student if necessary, okay? I have had a student that tried to abuse this before. He lost all correction abilities for the rest of the year, okay? So don't do that. The goal, try to get the good grade first time. Corrections are a safety net, okay? Make things up, that's important. The quicker you make things up, the better. Like I said, my geometry students last year were on target. They were perfect. It was actually my seniors I had to fight with. Hopefully you're going to be the same way as those geometry students, and you're going to be on target, and you're going to make these corrections up as soon as you miss them, so you're not forgetting it, and you can keep on track with this extremely fast-moving course, okay? Last thing we want to talk about is supplies. So what things do you need to have in class? All right. Well, in class, I have a lot of things for you. Like I've even got Chromebooks, although ninth graders, bring your own Chromebooks. They're going to be basically like your textbook. You're going to be using them in a lot of your classes. Okay. I like having my own calculator, but I do have calculators in class. We use these TI Inspires. Okay. You may have used these in your earlier classes. If you were in algebra last year, you probably used it quite a bit. We're using them mainly as just calculators. To be honest, you don't really use a calculator that much in geometry. Most geometry happens here, not necessarily here. And but it is a good tool to have. So you want to have a calculator. I have these in class for you to use. If you want your own, you can get your own. Make sure that it's CX version. You don't want the CAS. CAS is bad. Don't get that one. These you can have. Also, if you want one at home, it's good to have at home. I'm not saying you have to buy one if you don't. You can use good old TI-84s as well. They're just as good for what we're doing. We're not doing any crazy stuff. Okay, so make sure you have a calculator. There are some special tools you need for geometry. For example, we're going to need a compass. Okay, yours isn't going to be this big. Yours is probably only going to be about this big. Okay, so we're going to want this compass. Now, we sell these at school. Usually they sell them in the school store. Basically, it's a compass and a straight edge. You may have used these in maybe your science classes or something like that. So you'll want one of these. Now, you may say, oh, but where do I get that? You can't find these at Staples. That's the problem. You either have to go online and order them, or you got to get them from the school store. If you can't get this, you can always go with the good old standard compass that that your parents used back in the day. If you have this at home, you're probably going to want a straight edge as well. Okay, so compass and straight edge, both of these at home or this at home. I will say, if you get one of these, don't bring it to school. I have plenty of these in school. You can use mine in the classroom. If you bring this back and forth from home to school and school to home and home to school, it's going to end up getting broken. So get yourself one, leave it at home at your homework desk. At school, use mine. I'm a nice guy like that. I'll let you do that. Okay, so those are some tools you're going to need at home. Other than that, your calculator, your tools, a nice quiet place to study, maybe a glass of water while you're studying at home, keep yourself refreshed. You know, these are the kind of things you want. You want a good, well-lit place to study with your tools, your internet connection so that you can be paying attention to what's going on. You're not going to want to have this with you at home because that's just useless. It's no good for you. Those are the things you want at home, okay? At school, I got most of it for you. We already talked about what you need in school. So your at-home supplies are really important to you. Okay, let's talk about policy, important stuff. So those are your basic 6 rules for success in this class. Okay, after school help, I don't have a life. I'm here pretty much Monday through Thursday until at least 3 o'clock every day. Okay, unless I have some sort of meeting. If I have a parent meeting after school or a department meeting, or like every Monday, every first Monday of the month is a faculty meeting. You're not going to have any teacher staying after school that day. So those are out of my control. But any other Monday through Thursday, I'll be here. You don't have to set up an appointment. Oh, I'll be in on Tuesday of next week. No, you don't need to do that. Just stop me at the end of class and go, hey, are you after school today? Good, I'm coming in. That's usually how it works. Because like I said, I don't have a life. Fridays, I don't stay after. We all want to get out of here on Friday and start our weekend. So that's how that works. Don't hesitate to stay after school. I don't bite. Even if you're staying after like, hey, I only got one question. That's fine. I can hang around for one question. I'm here. You might as well use me. Okay. How are your grades based? Well, like I said, tests are the biggest thing. Tests are 70% of your grade. That is set by the district. I don't have a whole lot of say in that. That's the way it is. Quizzes are 20%. I try to have a quiz somewhere between tests or something like that. A unit maybe 2 weeks long. I try to get a quiz somewhere in there just to get a little checkup, okay? What I call skills, that's your homework and classwork, that's the other 10%, okay? So keeping up on that. Now remember, there's a lot in that 10%. There's a lot of homework and a lot of things. If you miss one, it's not a big deal. Start missing 4 and 5. Now that starts to add up, and it adds up fast. You'd be surprised. We have 20 homeworks and you miss 5. You've now missed a quarter of those homeworks. So your homework grade went from 100 to 75. Okay, that's a big difference. So that's where, oh, can't I just get one more point? There's 3 points of that 10%. So that's a big part of it. Stay on top of that homework. 10% is not much, but it can make an effect. And if you don't stay on top of that homework and classwork, it's going to show up come test time. You're not going to understand what to do on test, and that's going to bring your test average down. So those are the keys. We talked about my makeup policy. Website, you've seen the website. That's been up behind me the whole time. It's a brand new website. You can get through it through the Lakeland High School site. Mainly the best place to keep up on what's going on is on our Google Classroom. We're going to be doing quite a bit of Google Classroom stuff. We'll talk about that in class. We'll look at some of that and I'll help you get logged onto that. Although I think you may have been using it some last year in some of your classes. I know if you had Mr. Jasper in science in middle school, he did quite a bit of that. So that's what we're looking at doing. I welcome you to geometry. It's going to be a difficult course for some of you. It's probably going to be challenging for all of you, but it should be challenging. That's what you're here for. Take on that challenge, okay? Anything you got easy isn't worth getting, okay? I'm here to help you. I'm here to coach you along the way. I'm not going to do it for you, but I can give you the skills. And if you stay with me, if you work with me, you work with yourself, you don't give up. You put in more effort than you've ever put into any math course, you're going to be okay. I say okay. To get 90s, 98s, that takes a lot of hard work, more than many people are willing to do. 80s, hey, an 80s in geometry, you're actually doing pretty good, okay? We want to stay in that range. I want to keep pushing you above that range, and I'm going to push you. I'm going to work you, okay? I'm going to make you work yourself. That's what it's all coming down to. This is big boy mathematics. This is stepping into the real ring. This is coming up with the big stuff, okay? You can do it. If I didn't think you could do it, I would have told you to get out already, okay? So welcome to geometry. Work with me. We'll be fine. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Email's the best way, dcox@lakelandschools.org. You can always contact me on the phone. Parents, I hope to see you on back to school night, and we're going to have a good time, okay? See you soon.